Formule 1 wedrenne, hier is Pieter Melle.
The Leppin Trial's third round of the South African Observed Trials Championship was held recently at McPhail's farm near Pietermaritzburg. The route, one of the toughest in the 6-event series, took in sections of the Doozy River, which is better known as canoe country. One of the most important rituals before each competitor tackles the course is for riders to carefully study each section of the prescribed route. Success or failure in a sport that places huge demands on skill and precision often depends on how well a rider has memorized each obstacle or potential hazard. Team Leppin riders Brian Norcott and Gordon McEwen quickly showed they meant business. Norcott from Natal is the reigning South African champion. Charlie Simpson, a veteran trials rider, although he's only in his early 20s, was out on a new monoshock bike. Monoshock bikes are a recent innovation in South Africa and are proving to be unbeatable, with Simpson showing fine form. Norcott, competing in the master class, was again in superb form. Here he makes a deceptively difficult climb look easy. In trials competition, riders are penalized in each section. 1 point is added to a rider's score each time he puts his foot on the ground, up to a maximum of 3. Dismounting, deviating from the course, or putting a foot on the ground while stationary all cost a massive 5 points. Trials riders, often with some justification, call those officials who lay out courses some uncomplimentary names. These days, however, trials bike and tyre technology evolve so quickly that course designers are often hard-pressed to catch out the top stars. Here, Gordon McEwen, on a bike with a radical new design, shows how it's done. The new Fantic Trials bike has only been in South Africa a month or so, with McEwen demonstrating how to tiptoe through a slippery exit. Clubman Lawrence Kuhn, on the other hand, shows a different approach, with spiders in his path in grave danger. Leppin team rider James McEwen explains the importance of walking the course.
First, we normally just walk it quickly. The first lap we walk the section quickly, then do a slower analyzation of it. We see here in front of us is a rock that we have to go up at an angle. So you find a nice groove where you definitely get traction. Over here we have the situation where you got a deep hole, and on the left it's smoother through the water but rougher afterwards. So we actually check the line and then we take the easiest route where it's not so rough. We come along to a off camber. Normally when there's running water there's a lot of slime and it's slippery. Luckily today the rocks are quite firm. When we get to a situation like this, we have to ride at an angle up the waterfall. So the ideal is to, when you get here, you must have enough speed so that when you touch here, you shut off your bike and you roll to the top. Once you clear that, we have a step that we drop off. The step you can't just ride off it because you're likely to go over the handlebars. You have to, what we call, pop the wheel off.
Trials riders don't get as wet as the canoeists when they tackle the doozy. On a bike, you can also go upstream with Gordon McEwen and Keith Norcott, younger brother of Brian, showing what tyre technology has done for trials. As recently as 2 years ago, a section like this would have been impossible. These days, tyres with special compounds even provide traction on slimy rocks. Practicing what he preaches is James McEwen. An effortless front-wheel hop at the end of the section demonstrates the skill and precision needed in trials riding. The old man of trials riding in South Africa, Ken van Zyl, has probably forgotten more tricks of the trade than many of the youngsters have learnt. Right at the end of the section, Ken cunningly takes a breather as the front wheel comes out of a section. Trials is the oldest form of motorcycle sport in the world. It dates back to the turn of the century, when simply getting from A to B on a motorcycle was a challenge. As motorcycles developed, racing and other forms of motorcycle sport branched out. Suddenly, getting there the quickest was all the rage. The purists, however, hooked on the challenge provided by overcoming obstacles along the route, stuck with what has today emerged as modern observed trials. Trials has also fallen prey to the space-age technological development. Today's machinery is so far advanced that there are almost no limits to what the accomplished rider can achieve. Super lightweight machines, sticky tires, and other engineering developments allow riders to perform maneuvers which to the man in the street look well nigh impossible. A third place saw Gordon McEwen keep alive his championship hopes. He was only 2 points behind brother James, and here shows fine form in section 11. But the section did not prove a happy hunting ground for Hannes Bredenkamp. Nervous of dropping his new 10,000 Rand machine, Bredenkamp ran into some problems. Trials also attract motorcycle-mad youngsters. 16-year-old Alan Johnson, the youngest member of the Leppin team, was fancied to win the clubman section. But Alan, one of the most promising young riders in the country, slipped back to second. The local trial scene is dominated by the Norcotts and McEwens, and another McEwen, this time Douglas, was the one to pip Johnson at the post. Doug McEwen shows he's learnt a thing or two from his brothers, but the Norcott-McEwen rivalry goes back to the days when their fathers rode against each other in the early 60s. Trials is currently enjoying an upsurge in popularity. The sport is also attracting competitors from other branches of motorsport. One of them is top enduro rider Roland Geiger, here showing his potential with a 5th place in the clubman class. Charlie Simpson, the most improved rider in South Africa, is all concentration as he studies the course. Charlie then put it all together with a brilliant ride up the treacherous section 13. A little backward recovery maneuver at the end of the section demonstrated what can be done on a trials bike. At the end of the section, an anxious Simpson was looking over his shoulder to query his score. Professional musician Arthur Alino plays a different tune on a motorcycle. A quick scorpion stamp at the end of the section cost him a point. For Keith Norcott, there were no such problems, and he came through with what is termed as a clean, with no penalty points for the section. For a sport where oil and grease mingle with mud and slime, a clean is something of a misnomer. Section 14 provided a sting in the tail and produced most of the drama for riders. We asked Brian Norcott to point out the hidden snags.
Yeah, the section starts here. We've got quite a sharp drop-off onto some slippery off-camber loose sand and grass. So be very careful on the throttle. And we've got quite a steep uphill here with a few rocks. When I ride the section, I've got to try and bunny hop, which means lift the back wheel on top of this rock. Now it's quite not too steep, but it's all the way, it's slippery. There's sand and cut grass. This is the most difficult part of this section here. We've got to do a tight right turn, lofting the front wheel from about this point here to the top there. And then it's just a matter of getting the body weight right over the left-hand side of the bike. The end.
Under the watchful eye of Father Wilf, Norcott went into the section with his two arch rivals, the McEwen brothers, interested spectators. Norcott took the overall honours and picked up a total of only 7 penalty points for the day. One of those penalty points was given away right at the end of the section. The McEwen brothers were hot on the heels of Norcott. Only a handful of points separated them from the Natal rider, and Gordon and James took a great deal of care in inspecting the lines to be taken on what was an ultra-tricky section. It was a family affair as the pair worked out their strategy. With clean rides imperative if they wanted to catch Norcott, the pressure was on the Transvaalers. First away was big brother Gordon. With James studying his every move, McEwen fell into the same trap as Norcott. Despite intense concentration, a penalty point was squandered at the same point where Norcott slipped up. James McEwen is one of the coolest riders competing in observed trials in South Africa. But even the top stars sometimes falter. James followed the example set by Norcott and his brother by picking up a fault at exactly the same spot. Out in front in the National Championship and winner of all 3 rounds this year is Brian Norcott. We spoke to him after it was all over.
The trial was very good, Ken. I thought it was a bit easy. I don't like easy trials, I must admit, because
Speak for yourself.
I don't because it makes the competition tighter. And as I said earlier, James lost a 5 on a section, which gave me a breather, thank goodness.
Section 14 gave you all the problems, was it?
Yes, I lost a 5 there and 2 ones. I managed to clear it once.
Which was your favorite section today?
Well, they were all quite easy, except for 14. That one was a killer, I think.
It may be easy for the top.